notification that you opened up in there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
We're live again, and here, hold on. Let me switch my headphones over here. All right, I'm officially plugged in. We're broadcasting again from a different location.
Nice.
Good Lord,
You
that's
good, bro? You good?
man. I'm saying I'm all nervous over here, man. It's like my
Nervous about what?
uh,
You
uh,
the man. When you the
ah
man, you don't need to be nervous.
ah.
You say, Coach, give me the ball. Coach, give me the ball. That's all you gotta do. You know what I mean? Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
Oh,
That's all you gotta do. You
that,
know what I mean?
that's it. That's it. I appreciate everybody's support, and give people time to switch over and all that. We're
Uh-huh.
having to start this new one, having these difficulties. Um, okay. Gee, where were we? Just hanging out.
You asked me about the climate in the community, and I gave you some long ass answers. See, that's the problem. I'm giving too long answers. I'm gonna give you quick answers and just shut the hell up so you can talk.
Oh no, man! Hold up. Let me get relaxed. Let me get relaxed. It's kind of warm in here. Hold on. All right. No.
There you go, ladies.
Okay.
He's stripping for y'all.
All right. So, all right, we good. Already. Let's do this thing.
Cool.
All right. So, about the climate of the community. I don't know. I'm not really trying to have any personal beefs with anybody around here over anything. There's been a lot of contention lately concerning the flat Earth model that a lot of people use, the AE map, the circular disc map, versus other uh, oncoming outlooks as far as what the flat Earth might be. And there's been a lot of discussion about how things don't quite add up as far as the AE model on this and that. And I personally don't want to get involved as far as the arguments about what the map looks like. My focus at this point is just the fact that it's not a globe. We know we're not living on a globe.
Right.
So how about we focus on that one instead of fighting about the shape of the earth, because yeah, we may not have a map now, and yeah, some people may have very well been, including myself. I've been guilty of speaking about the azimuthal equidistant map, the 1892 Gleason standard. I've talked a lot about that and the different aspects of it. Now I'll probably back off of that a little bit because more information is coming about concerning the flight paths and all those things that it may not be inaccurate. There are some things about the amount of sunlight, the length of daytime, that the outer hemiplane gets. I'm trying to work on my terminology. I didn't want to say southern hemisphere because that's half a sphere, not on a sphere. So I say outer hemiplane, whatever that means. So
Right.
you know that they had their daylight hours are different.
Right.
So um it might not be what we were taught, what we've learned from some individuals, including myself, like this right here. Hey, it's the a small model of the azimuthal equidistant projection, just as the logo on my shirt. um i'll I'll look at it now as just flat and stationary. I'll try to stay there, or stay on the offensive as far as disproving the globe model, because that's the true deception. That's the
Right.
bigger deception. That's the one that takes priority in my mind. So that'll be my focus, is talking about how we've been misled about that, as opposed to trying to engage in confrontation with anyone concerning what the flat earth map actually looks like. If so what are your thoughts about all that good stuff?
Yeah, a lot of people know with me, I don't like to really talk science because, like I always say, I know where it comes from. You know, um, they can shift science to fit anything that they want, i.e., um, we don't live on a globe. We live on an oblate spheroid. Even though, even though we have photographs that they claim are authentic that shows a globe. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if they can shift the narrative to wherever they want to support their argument, you can't you can't win that argument. I
Mhm.
mean, you really can't. And the other issue with that, I put this on one of my latest live streams that I did. If you if you give them the position of authority, right? If you look at science as the authority on this topic, I think that cripples the flat earther, because what the authority says will be the verdict of how it is. So if you look at science as the only means of proving flat earth, and they decide, and the people that sit on top of science, the authority, i.e., let's say Neil deGrasse Tyson, he says, no, you're wrong. When the authority says you're wrong, and you're dabbling in their arena, guess what? You're wrong.
Mhm.
I believe in taking that power away from them. I really do. I
Right.
don't talk their theoretical science because much of what they claim to be true hasn't been proven. You know,
Uh-huh.
I like to keep them on solid ground when I have a discussion with a globe earther or someone who deems themselves as being scientific. Like a lot of people, I've said this to other flat earthers, but I never really got any response. I'm gonna say it here. Maybe you can respond to it. Do you realize that when they talk astronomy, cosmology, uh, all those ideas of space and time, that it's absent the scientific method?
Yep.
Are you aware of that?
I am.
I think a lot of people forget that, right? So if you're speaking on a topic that's absent the scientific method, it's no longer science.
Mhm.
How can you have science without the scientific method? And the crazy part about this?
What's that?
They admit it. They admit it. They tell you they don't use the scientific method.
Right.
So we're not even arguing with real scientists. We're arguing with people who are speculating about the cosmos. So what makes their speculation true and make our reality untrue? And I think that's the real question. You know,
I mean, that's what I come up with because and again, these whole common sense ideas that it's like I've heard so many people say, no, it can't be that simple. But yeah, it really is. It really is that simple. I'm like, okay, look, I'll just break it down, man. Where's my daggone? I always do this. I was talking to a guy earlier today, came up to my van. I'm like, look, all the water that you've ever seen in your life does this same thing. Let me level this out. Does the same thing. You see how that goes? It had just got finished raining. I'm pointing to a puddle. I'm like, that puddle right there, the surface lays flat. You ever been to the lake? Yeah. So you've been fishing? Yeah. So you saw how it was flat from one side to the other. The oceans play by the same rules, right? He's like, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, I know, right?
mm-hmm.
So I'm like, come on, man. Most of the earth is water. So that's it. I'm saying
Right,
once you get past all that, the rest of it is that's just details. The
right,
earth is flat. There's no spin, there's no curvature, so we're not on a globe. That's
right.
that's that. We can talk about stars later, but first I need you to acknowledge
Exactly,
that water does not bend into a sphere. Well,
exactly.
so that's where we're going to have to start at. If we want to move past there, then that's where we're going to have to establish our common ground, because having a discussion with someone who ignores their own five senses And I have a personalized message that I'll send back to people. I'm like, okay, look, we can talk about all this other stuff, but we have to acknowledge this first, because if you sit here and deny your experience, because your experience tells you water lays flat every time. I mean,
Exactly.
regardless of how it is, it's going to fill its container, and the surface is going to lay generally flat the whole time, minus waves and ripples. But
Right.
if you can't acknowledge that, I don't really know how much more conversation we can have,
It's a wrap. Yeah.
because that's just showing a level that I can't really deal with, as far as your detachment from reality,
Yeah.
because you're ignoring your five senses, going all the way back, full circle back to that one. You're ignoring your five senses. Your senses tell you these things, and if you ignore that, I don't know what to tell you. We're just
Exactly.
operating on two different levels.
Exactly.
So,
And I use a great analogy for that when you dropped out. I was still talking, just to fill the space.
oh, I want to
It,
hear.
it was the computer. I was using the computer example. But when you start talking about the operating systems of a computer, what is the revolution that we've all experienced in our lifetime in the last 20 years? Faster and faster processors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the analogy I like to use to lay that out is some people are still operating on Windows 98. Their processing is slow as hell, you
Right.
know? And then you got some people that got XP, you know what I mean? And then you got some people that have the new stuff, the Windows 10. So when you're dealing with someone with a slow processor, right,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take time for that person to put this information properly in their mind,
Mm-hmm.
because there's some people that just don't exercise their mind. See, just like we want to get big muscles and get strong, you have to exercise your mind. And if you're just indoctrinated and you're constantly just absorbing nonsense all the time, there's no exercise. It's
Right.
being fed to you. It's like it's like Jabba the Hutt, and you're just getting fed. You know what I mean?
Right.
you
Right.
know. So I think when you say we get to a point where we can't um, go any further, you're 100% right. That processor can only go as fast as the system allows it. You got to change the chip. You got to pull the chip out. You got to put a new chip in there. So now your processing is bang, bang,
Yep.
bang. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us in Flat Earth, we got some fast ass processors.
Yes.
And we were able to detect the truth in the idea of Flat Earth. There's people who are on Windows 98, Windows 95. They just don't see it. And it's just taking too long for them to figure it out. That's the analogy I like to use.
No, that was a good one, and I mean that just makes sense along the way of I'm saying just the way that things are, ah, the way things are laid out, just so simply, just so concisely. I mean, just the idea of trying to understand this whole earth plane, it's not really that complicated, and that's where a lot of people fall off. But man, gosh, as far as the
Right.
model goes, so how do you deal with trolls around the same degree? I mean, when people come around, and I know it happens to you, somebody will come around, uh wanting
This
to
I deal with. I make
debate.
them love me.
Right.
Haters love me. I've been waiting for you to say something about trolls. So I
Right.
would have.
That's what I'm talking
How
about.
how do I deal with trolls? Well, I honestly see trolls as and when I say trolls, I'm also including naysayers, people that challenge you, people that disagree with you, people that don't believe you, whatever, right? I'm putting them all in one big. I love them all. I really do. Because trolls that challenge you, right? The ones that actually challenge, not the ones that just want to shut down your message or, say derogatory stuff and run away like a little kid. The ones that challenge you, right?
Hmm.
They strengthen your position. That's the way I see it. Some of the best discussions I've had and live hangouts were with Tim Osmond. I hate to say that, but it's true. Why? Because I get to hear why my message isn't getting through to him. And I get the opportunity to shift it. So when I talk to someone else who's a global earther, I can lay it out more clear. Because what happens is once you get into this community and your information, you start piling on information, you start rising. Let's say the operating system gets faster and faster and faster, right? When it comes to this particular topic. But now you got this new globe earther that says, what are you talking about? The earth is a ball, you know? You got to be able to talk to that person on your level. And if you're only talking to other flat earthers, a lot of times it's kind of like intellectual trying to talk to someone who's to a child, you know, and using intellectual words. You know, sometimes you gotta get on your hands and knees and look that child in his face and talk their language, you know, so they can understand what you really want. So I treat trolls as an opportunity to grow. I really do. I want them to challenge my argument. I want them to come and ask me questions and try to corner me. Because think about exercise. You're a bodybuilder, right? Exercise. What are you doing with when you're exercising? You are trying to put stress and tension on your muscles so they can grow.
Right.
But how can you be a bodybuilder without stress, without opposing forces? You know what I mean? So I kind of see it as an opportunity to converse. But once this boy Tim did what he did to Dredd and Sanchez and all them, I don't deal with him at all. Actually, I don't deal with PMAR anymore. I don't deal with Tim Osmond anymore. I don't deal with Gary anymore. I don't deal with Brenda anymore. These are all the regulars that like to talk to us, right? So I just don't address them anymore. At one point, I sort them out and I wanted to talk to them because it made my argument stronger. You know, their position solidified my position because, you know, I can talk to Tim Osmond and I can almost regurgitate exactly what he's going to say before he says it, you know, and all that did was make me a better debater or a better presenter of flat earth, you know. So you can learn from the opposition as long as you don't take this shit personal. When you start taking this stuff personal, it becomes, you lose the effect, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. See, I need to be over here taking notes, man. No, I got this on video. I'm gonna go back and watch
You
this.
ain't take no notes from me, man. Get out of here. Get out of here. You the man. I'm trying to be like you.
Oh man, look, I just sent you a message the other day. I'm trying to be like you when I grow up, man. Shoot, you out here making moves. You're a situation entrepreneur out here. You know, you got some things going on outside of doing a YouTube thing. I mean, anything you'd like to share as far as you know, branching out and taking advantage of other opportunities outside of YouTube to kind of free yourself up?
Advice for me to do that? Are you talking about as far as social media? Or are you talking about just work in general, employment, and stuff like that?
I don't know. I mean, I thought you I don't know. I'm kind of off the cuff right now.
You're talking about how I'm diversified and how I make money and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm very, very diversified.
Right.
If you ever went to business school, they always teach you that if you're going to get into world finance and you're going to have portfolios, they must be diversified, right? Because when this one is down, this one is up, you know, and so forth. And if you have a really good portfolio that's diversified, it'll balance itself out.
Right.
That same logic applies to you. So if you work on a job for 20 years, right, and you have no other forms of income, and that company decides to can you, and that's happened to a lot of people, you know, since the new millennium, they've been canning people with seniority, taking their 401ks and all types of stuff, right?
Yeah.
You're not diversified. You have all your eggs in one basket, per se. So what I've done over the years, I picked up skill sets and started little businesses across the board. Like I'm a professional dog trainer. Like I literally train dogs for police departments, movies, TV commercials, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And personal, I train people's dogs personally. Um, I'm a health and wellness consultant because I lost so much weight. I can consult obese people in particular, and that's what I specialize in how to gradually lose weight. Um, Real estate, I'm invested in a couple other businesses, that I don't necessarily run, but I'm invested in.
Okay.
My money is diversified, so if the government wanted to hit me all at once, he's not going to get much. Because I got stuff here, I got stuff there, stuff they don't know about. This stuff in my baby's name, this stuff is in my grandson's name. I don't play with the government like that. I don't play with that. I am not going to allow them to have total control over me by any means, And I've been practicing this now for about maybe 6 years. Of 6 years, I've been independently financial in some way, So if this doesn't work, this over here is working and so forth. So you got to diversify.
Right.
A lot of people are not diversified in their income. And because they're not diversified, that means they are a slave to wherever their income is coming from. I can walk away from any job anytime. And I can turn down a client. I can, tear up somebody's check, walk away. And this doesn't mean that I'm rich. It just means I have other means of getting money. So I don't have to bank on an individual for money.
Right.
Yeah.
And that goes along the lines of what a lot of people in this society fall victim to is kind of living above their means. And
Right.
there was a quote that I heard a while ago. I wanted to put this in the video about how I got out of debt, or the one about how I pay my debt off. Says if your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep will be your downfall.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that, and that, I mean, that one, it just snapped into place for me, because people try to live above their means. I'm like, well, if your operating expenses for the month is like $1,500, and you're making like, I don't know, $1,496 every couple weeks, you have the opportunity to put some away. But what happens is people will accumulate this, and they'll say, oh, I need a new this or that, and I'm going to finance this, I'm going to do that, and that ends up putting them kind of behind the 8 ball.
Exactly.
So that's another thing that I'd like to promote more of, is like the whole aspect of financial literacy, to also kind of foster a culture of working towards financial independence, being debt free,
right?
Because there's a lot of Bible believers in the flat earth community, and you understand in Proverbs, a book of Proverbs, it was written a lot about debt, and being a slave to the debtor, and how you just it's frowned upon,
right? Exactly.
to break it all the way down.
It's funny how so many people embrace exactly what their Bible say don't do. I mean, it's amazing.
right. Very, very selective in
Yeah.
some instances, but
Right.
God bless them.
I can't believe,
Still,
like, especially in the black church, how much money we give these pastors, and they're driving Cadillacs and shit like that. And then they got TV shows bragging about it. What was that? The reality TV show with the black pastors, or
yeah,
I think there's a couple white guys on it too, but
it was like the pastors in Atlanta or something like that.
Yeah, something crazy. Like, I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy, man, that anyone would embrace that, But, God meant for them to have all their money. So I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
One of the funny things is and I mean, it was funny, the backlash, but the serious thing that has taken place lately, and I kind of wanted to get into this a little bit.
Sure.
All the events that have taken place, and events,
Right.
I mean, like the false flags, the natural disasters, and all that have taken place since the eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I saw was funny, kind of dovetailing off the whole mega churches and the pastors and all of that. You know, when Hurricane Harvey hit Houston and all, Joel Osteen, he had kind of closed the doors of his church. He's like, nope, we're flooded. Sorry, we can't let anybody in. And you know, people
Really?
were dude, he got roasted on Twitter. I just sat there and I watched that. It's like people were drilling him about that. It was, you know, because there were people doing like Facebook Live. They would say, okay, I'm here at Lakewood Church. Joel Osteen says this place is flooded and I don't see any water. You know what I'm saying? They like put him on blast. They roasted him on Twitter and on like every social media for like a few days. Wow. And then after a while, he came out like, praise the Lord, everybody. We're going to go ahead and open the doors to the church. They put him on blast, man. So,
wow.
I thought that was funny, but the things that have been going on since the hurricane and because of my situation, and you all just saw how I had to go from one spot to another. Oh my God, I'm not even going. Never mind. All right, so the way that I live, I have to like switch around spots and all that to get on Wi-Fi. You know, working on a better situation. Or actually, I might just come to this spot whenever I do this. It's working out pretty well.
Oh yeah, it's doing well.
But I don't always get to hit the topics that I'd like to hit on. You know, I didn't get to do a whole lot on Harvey. The thing that happened in that small town in Nevada. Don't want to say the V word, around get banned or something. You know, you were going in about Charlottesville a while ago, and that's when they kind of put your channel on lock, your other channel.
It's crazy.
You know, with the censoring and all that. But as far as all these events, I mean, what's your thought overall? I feel like these things, most of them are false flags and or hoaxes. Like the difference I'd like to I don't know, work out in my head as far as what a false flag is. False flag is like an event where there is actual danger, there is fallout, there is repercussions to the event that takes place, but it's still a multifaceted thing as far as the psychological operation of it, or the psyop, because it's a distraction along the way. And then hoaxes in my head is like where it's just all crisis actors, like nothing really happened, no people died, they used fake blood, they staged all of this. It was like like an emergency drill or something, you know, and you know, something that didn't really happen. So what are your thoughts about all the stuff that's been taking place? I mean, do you see it as what's been real, what's a hoax, what's a false flag, and how much of it is a distraction to distract us from what? If I can throw all those things at you real quick.
Right. Well, in my opinion, and that's the only thing I can speak from is my position, my opinion. I think you can have one and the same. I think you can have a false flag that's a hoax, or a hoax that's a false flag. Because you said you're ex-military. What did you do in the military?
I was a unit supply specialist, or you know, supply sergeant. I was a guy in the supply room. They'll run out of this or that. I'll just run over here.
Were you around combat arms, or were you?
I was in a light infantry unit for the first year and a half that I was stationed at Fort Lewis. So
Fort Lewis, okay, yeah, you was definitely around infantry at Fort Lewis.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
I was ex-infantry also.
Okay.
I'm very familiar with psychological operations, right? And because my war when I was in the military was Bosnia. And when we went into Bosnia, I did 2 years in Bosnia. When we went to Bosnia, we ran psyops, and we weren't the ones that did it. It was usually by MI, military intelligence, but they needed infantry people on the ground to support their psyop, right?
Okay.
And we had fake riots. We had all types of stuff that we did, you know, to gain public sentiment in in those areas. Because when we first went into Bosnia in '95, it was a war-torn country. If you guys know anything about it, you can look it up. It's the Bosnian Serbs versus the Bosnian Muslims, and then you had the Croatians in there as well. And it was this big killing field, and it was genocide and ethnic cleansing and all types of stuff going on. So Bill Clinton decides he's going to send the United States in for peacekeeping. That's what they initially called it. But what it really was, it was a move to insert U.S. influence in a former Soviet-controlled area. We never had bases in Bosnia before. You know, it was a former Warsaw Soviet stronghold. So when the wall came down, a few years went by, and then we had the opportunity to go play peacekeepers. So anyway, I was a part of that. I was a part of that when I was in the Army. And again, the military, police, MI, CIA, all throughout history are involved in controlling the narrative, controlling what people think, put you that way. And they use techniques that are called psyops, aka false flags, aka hoaxes.
Okay.
So a hoax event, let's say a hoax event could be that a child was killed by an invading force, right? And let's say the child never was killed, but that's the report that went out.
Mm-hmm.
And people hear about it, and now they think they build up anger to want to fight harder against the opposing force. We do that all the time in war. You know, the Iraq War, Afghan War, all the different wars that we support them not only financially and with weapons, but we also support them with gaining public sentiment through psychological operations. So I said all that to let you know that's what they're doing to the American people. And I recognize it. It looks familiar. It looks very similar to stuff that I've witnessed personally. But let's say I had no military experience. I think the average person, because a lot of average people who are not former military also recognize it. All you got to do is start looking at things logically, starting with your five senses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your five senses is your only means for detecting that which is true externally outside of yourself.
Right.
So if you allow this stuff, if you allow your God-given tools to lead you through an investigation, a lot of times you can see more truth than falsity. When it comes to national media claims, you got to always ask yourself, the little stuff that happens in your area locally that doesn't make it to the national media, it's presented to you differently than how the national media presents stuff. You got to ask yourself why. You usually get more details about the guy that got shot around the corner than you did the school where 26 kids was murdered by Adam Lanza. You know, that the messages are completely different. One comes from a place of truth, while the others come from a place of fabrication, in my opinion. So how, or my position, because the national media is historically known as liars, I treat them as liars. So all reports coming out, I treat it as a lie first.
Right.
When I conduct my investigations, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to debunk myself. So I do the opposite. I don't give them the benefit of the doubt. I doubt them. And then when I do an investigation, I'm trying to debunk myself to prove that maybe it did happen.
Okay.
And when I take that approach, it works better. It's actually called a reverse investigation. I learned that in investigator school. You know, always approach a situation skeptically versus, well, it's exactly what they say it is. You know, it's a technique that we've learned, and I apply it to all this stuff. Have I been 100% right Um, I want somebody to tell me where I've been wrong. You know, it is not that it's not about right or wrong. It's about searching out anomalies and searching out contradictions. You know, they say this man had 23 weapons in his hotel room.
Right.
Where's the footage to show him carrying bags that can contain 23 weapons? You know, they say this man was only there for a couple of days. We find out that he was there for over a week. You know, I'm very familiar with weapons. Shooting an automatic weapon in an area that's 400 meters and beyond, you're not hitting shit if you're aiming.
Right.
You know, you can spray a bunch of bullets, but 9 times out of 10, you're not aiming. But then you got claims of victims that supposedly got multiple shots.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. For you to hit something multiple times with an automatic weapon, you're aiming. So you're aiming at something from 400 meters away and you hit something multiple times. There's little things like that,
Yeah.
you know, or you may consider that big things. There's a lot of stuff that the government is willing to do to get you to believe. And so I start off looking at them as liars. I know that's a long ass answer, but it's the only way I can answer it.
It is what it is. That was a good answer. You're making sure that the audience can pretty much keep up and understand your thought process walking up to your conclusion, and
Right.
that makes sense. You know what I saw as far as that incident with the shooter at the hotel. I'm trying
Yeah.
not to say the V word, but
Right.
you know, I so a guy showed me a video just as clear as day. You could see a guy on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
uh, at ground level with the rest of the crowd. This dude comes out. He's got blue jeans. He had on a white t-shirt. He had on a red hat, and you can see just as clear as day he had an automatic weapon firing right into the crowd. You could see the muzzle flashes. Now, whether or not those were blanks, don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but
Right.
there was video of a man on the ground at that concert firing into the crowd. So,
Mm.
you know, the idea that so many details are missing from this whole
Right.
story. That's what throws me off. That's a red
Right.
flag to me. I'm like, well, I mean, shouldn't we have some autopsies? What we haven't heard much from the families of the victims. There should be autopsies showing bullets coming in from an angle. You know, he was
Right.
supposedly up in the 32nd floor making these shots. So we should see victims with the angular impact or point of entry with these rounds, but we're missing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It, and then
So that's a great approach though. I mean, think about it. You put out a narrative and you leave holes throughout the narrative, right?
mm-hmm,
And you even put stuff out falsely, right? And you
mm-hmm,
leave it out there. What the human response to that is to fill in those blanks. In
right,
the absence of information, people fill in the blanks. And that's what they want because the more blanks you fill in, the further you get away from the truth. You know, that's just how it is. When I was talking about the Virginia thing, and I'm not trying to say no names either,
right,
um, I was a police officer in Virginia, approximately an hour, probably about 2 hours away from that location. And what disturbed me when I first heard about the accident that supposedly killed someone um, was that area, Charlottesville, University of Virginia, is extremely liberal. It's kind of like California in Virginia. You know, it's a very um, liberal town, liberal place. Actually, back in the '60s, I was told this when I first became a police officer that it was actually a place that people on the East Coast could hide to dodge draft the Vietnam War. It was a safe haven. If you couldn't get to Canada, you can go to Charlottesville.
oh wow,
That's how Charlottesville was, you know, for a long time. Very liberal part of Virginia. Most of Virginia is conservative. but Charlottesville is an extremely liberal place. To even allow neo-Nazis and, you know, KKK to come through there and do what they did, I didn't believe when I first heard it. I was like, you know what? There's no way they would ever allow that because they're so anti, you know, establishment, anti-right kind of people. Yeah. Because they allowed that right there, as soon as I heard it, sent up a red flag, right? But that's the kind of thing that if you don't have experience with that area in that place, you wouldn't get that. You know, you would have to know what kind of place it is. And I know, and you talk to anybody that ever lived or went to the University of Virginia or whatever the case is, they'll tell you it's a hippie town. They call it a hippie town. And it's been that way since the 50s and 60s. All right. So I started looking into that. And when I looked into that, that's how I lost my first channel. I did a 12-part series analyzing the data that they provided of that event.
Right.
You know, and some of you may have heard of the guy that got hit by the car and he was airborne, the black guy with the shoes on. I don't know if you've seen that picture. It's a real famous picture. He's supposedly behind the car airborne, right? I was the one that leaked out that he was sitting on the truck 3 seconds later. You know, when the car backs back up, he's hopping off of the truck. I was the one that let out that first video on that. And that video went viral. It was ridiculous. Like in 3 or 4 days, it had over 100,000, you know,
right,
whatever. And then I followed up with another video and I looked at the blood and I looked at the impact of the vehicles, you know, how come none of the airbags opened up? You know, I started looking at real tangible stuff that should have been questioned by law enforcement when this event happened. They shut my channel down with the quickness and there was no warning. It was like, you're a cyber bully. Take that shit down. And they just shut me down with the quickness, you know?
Yeah.
And I've had that channel for years. And I've put up all types of conspiracy things, you know, talking about the Illuminati, whatever.
Right.
I talked about Charlottesville. They couldn't have that.
Right. I mean, you were on it for a few weeks, just hammering away at that one, and
right.
Yeah, man. I'm saying after a while, I hop on YouTube. I'm like, where's Vegan Warriors channel at? What happened? And then you came back. I was like, okay. I wanted to let everybody know where to find you. So, by the way, everybody, go ahead and subscribe to Vegan Warriors' new channel. That's Vegan Dog Society.
Actually, that's not the new one. It's Vegan Warrior Live.
Oh, okay. Vegan Warrior Live. My bad. I'm out here.
The Vegan Dog Society got 2 strikes and it's about to go 2.
Oh my God. Already?
Oh, yeah.
Vegan Warrior Live.
The Las Vegas thing happened as soon as I opened up that channel. And I went in on Las Vegas. And the first 3 videos I dropped, they gave me strikes for each one.
All right.
Yeah.
Vegan Warrior Live. Let me get over here, get subbed up myself. Shout out to Morningstar Rev. Thank you, Melissa, for the donations and the kind words out here.
Nice.
You know, I appreciate everybody in the chat. Let me see what's going on out here.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's look at the people. I'm talking too much.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I try to show love to the people when I can, of course. You know, we got Daniel Reza out here, legendary Duke, Jamaican Titan. What's going on, man? DJ Black want me to talk about some certain issues. We might get around to that. Don't want to make these things too long though. You know, because not everybody has time to just be sitting here for hours and hours.
They're waiting for us to fight about BOB. That's what it is.
Well, no, they're saying the whole situation with the videos coming out about Mark and Patricia. They want us to talk about those.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
All right, well that's what's up. You know, I appreciate everybody coming out. Dre, Cat's Eyes, what's up? Nicholas Cabal, Miss Empress, how you doing? You know, Jeff Schaefer, what's up? What's up, homie? Sean G, that's my dude for life. Sean G used to be a you know, Globe Earther, chopping it up on Dre's channel. Yeah, he's hardcore FE. That's the FE front.
I remember Sean.
Yeah, straight up. He was on the ball for a while, and then we got a chance to talk offline for a little bit, and my man came around. It took a little bit of time, but
Nice, nice.
that's
Yeah,
what's
he's
up.
been showing me love for a minute too.
Yeah, here, let me see. Let me get Nicholas Cabal wrench over here. Okay. Man, this live stream stuff is pretty cool. All right, so
I told you you're gonna get addicted to it now.
I'll try not to, man. I'll still try to get out here and make these short videos and all that, just talking about certain topics. I got one little rant.
Let me answer one quick question. Somebody keeps asking me why I got Illuminati triangle on my shirt.
Oh yeah, yes. Go ahead, please.
That's Gracie Jiu-jitsu. All right, I'm a Jiu-jitsu practitioner. I am a student of Jiu-jitsu. So, and Illuminati did not. They don't own the triangle. The triangle was around before the Illuminati. So, F the Illuminati. This is about Jiu-jitsu. I'm just answering somebody in the chat.
I feel you. Yeah. And I try to oh Dave, what's up? DITRH in the house. What's going on?
Deep in the rabbit hole?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh man.
Somebody asked me, am I from Buffalo? No, I'm from Philly. I'm from Philly, baby.
Right. And I'm from North Little Rock, Arkansas. Represent 501. What's really good.
That's a Bill Clinton guy right there.
Oh no, man. Look, and everybody was like, I know you're going to vote for Hillary. I'm like, nah, heck I'm not. I got a video debunking Hillary. She ain't all that kind to people of color. But anyway,
really?
Man, check it out. It's a short little breakdown I did on Hillary a while ago. But
really?
All right, so I guess we'll talk about what's going on as far
about the drama.
Let's talk about the drama.
Now, honestly, you got to set it up because I don't even know what it is. I just like addressing shit when people bring it up.
Right. All right. Let me see now. What's going on about the drama? My man Jesse in the house. Quit playing. Let me get you a wrench, Jesse. All right. So as far as the drama that needs to be addressed, there were some videos that came out recently about Mark Sargent and Patricia Steer.
Were they like messing around or something?
No, not so. No.
Oh, I thought somebody had like a sex tape or something.
No. I mean, it's some people trying to. I'm just
joking.
No. It's people putting together different things as far as IP address or a website was put up by a guy, and just things being dots being put together by different people about certain things. I mean, I don't like to get into that aspect of things.
Right.
And the idea of again, I like to play advocate and maybe look at things from a different perspective. This is why, I try to stay away from the drama, because I'm like, we don't know. Things could just be coincidence. No telling. The thing is, I'd imagine that there were more people back in the day just saying, you know what, this person's got this name, I'm going to go ahead and buy a website with this person's name. This person has this name, that's pretty cool, I'm going to buy. It's like, entrepreneurs may have very well been buying websites. There was a point where me being a job guy, for crying out loud, I was like, man, I need to go buy some IPOs, get some websites and all that, because there's a chance that this might pop later. Now, if I knew a guy named Mark Sargent and I had all kinds of money just laying around, I'd be like, you know what? That's a cool name.
Oh, snap. Did he just get knocked off? Come back, D. I think you just got knocked off. So you talk about Mark Sargent, you get knocked off. Can you guys hear me? Can anyone in the chat hear me? Am I still on? I can see you. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. should be said. They can hear me. And I'm sure he'll be right back. Well, let me answer the question. What do I think about the drama? Well, I haven't looked into it. You guys know, if you give me some information, I'll try and filter through it to see how authentic it is. Try to debunk it or whatever. Um, but I have heard things expressed about Patricia and Mark in the past. My thing is it speculation or is it something that is tangible? You know, if it's you feel like this person is a shill or this person is not authentic, that's one thing. But if you know that they are that way, you need to lay that information out, lay it all out, so everybody can look at it, and we can make a decision if we want these people in our community or not. But when you talk in the general and you just throw allegations out there and there's no tangible information to substantiate your claims, I wonder what your agenda is. It makes me say, what are you trying to accomplish? You want everybody not to subscribe to this individual? If that's the case, show the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can tell you this: my experience with Patricia Steer was wonderful. One of the best interviews I ever had. You know, I said my piece, I spoke my piece, she spoke her piece. Thousands of people were watching us. That video is one of their biggest videos, one of her biggest videos, and I think I made the top 10, maybe. I'm not sure. And that's it. That was the last time I've had any direct connection other than maybe, some type of chat or whatever. So if she is a shill, she's not a very good one because she didn't change the vegan warrior.
Right.
And I haven't seen her change nobody else. I know she didn't change D Marble or anybody else. So it's not like we're all, we get interviewed by Patricia Steer and now we're her minions. It don't work that way. This is a free thinking, independently driven movement. There are no leaders. There are no leaders. There's nobody leading me. There's nobody. I don't think there's anybody in this movement that could lead me. I am such a skeptic. I am such a challenger of authority. If you're going to be a leader, you better be a badass person if you're going to get me.
Right.
I'm free. I'm a free person. So if she is or she isn't, I like to see the evidence. No evidence, I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt because I don't see no destructive nature. I'm looking for a destructive nature, and I don't see that. So I err on the side of leave her alone unless you got information to say otherwise. And that's my piece.
All right. Yeah. That's
Now, Mark Sargent, I don't know shit about Mark Sargent, so.
right. No, nobody knows anything about that guy. No. As far as Patricia goes, I had the same experience, and I talked about this on one of my videos. Like, people say she's a shill or an agent or whatever, and I'm like, just the same as you said. She was the first person to actually interview me on Google Hangouts. I haven't been doing this.
Oh, really?
For a long time. Yeah. First show I was on with Patricia Steer, man. And we talked for maybe a minute and a half before about, hey, thanks for having me on, things we might want to talk about.
Right.
But at no point did she email me a script of things that I will and won't discuss, nor did she at any point try to influence me to say anything. It was a free flowing conversation. And
right.
There was no manipulation, and
right.
I can't see how anybody would be able to actually monitor what she's done as far as her show, because I mean, if you just boil down the aspect of Patricia Steer in the flat Earth community, she does interviews. She'll have a show. Somebody will come on. She will talk with them for however long, and the show's over.
Yep.
She'll let the person come on the show. She'll ask them questions. They'll just have a friendly discussion, and the show's over. as I mean, I don't know exactly how much damage that could do to the flat Earth community. So along the lines of what you were saying, I'm like, how about we go about manifesting some or waiting for some manifestation of discord, if you will. How about we manifest some chivalry out here before we start pointing fingers? And that, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. You know, so again, like you said, she's a bad shill in my book.
Yeah,
She's a
yeah.
terrible,
If
terrible
she's
shill.
an agent, she sucks.
She is the bottom.
Because if Mark Sargent is an agent, he kind of sucks
Right.
because I don't know anybody that worships any of these people. You know what I
No.
mean? See, if you're an agent and your job is to infiltrate a movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to get inside, you want to become the most popular, you want to control the narrative, you want to control the direction the movement is going.
Right.
Does Mark Sargent and Patricia control the narrative of Flat Earth? I don't think so. I don't think Eric Dubay controls the narrative of Flat Earth. Now, he was able to talk to somebody that, oh my God, I love him to death, Eddie Bravo,
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu,
Right.
right? I love Eddie Bravo, right? He was able to talk to him, and he's talking to punk ass Joe Rogan, who mentioned my name, by the way. Did you ever see the video I made about him?
I did see that.
I went in on that dude, right?
I know.
Anyway, but they don't control shit. I know they don't control me. I don't think they control the brothers. I mean, I don't want to make this a white and black thing, but they definitely don't control the brothers.
Right.
You got Sanchez, you got Dre, you got a whole lot of brothers out there. Nah, they don't control nothing over here.
Right.
Now, are they people that we watch their videos and we listen to their presentations and check out their presentation? Yeah, they don't run shit. Patricia don't run shit. Mark Sargent don't run shit. I'm showing up at this conference. I'm just coming for GP because I can. So I'm gonna show up. Hey, what's up, everybody? Vegan Warrior T-shirt. Shake some hands. Sit there and see what people got to say. And I'm driving back. I'm going back home.
Cool.
I'm not even staying in the same hotels. I got people down there. So the bottom line is, nah, y'all, ain't nobody running this. And that's why they're so afraid of us. There's a leaderless movement is the most dangerous movement.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. You could take out the Black Panthers. What did they do? They took out Huey P. Newton and they took out Bobby Seale. Panthers went away, right? You took out Martin Luther King, civil rights movement went away. Right. You took out Marcus Garvey, that movement went away. You know what I mean? Ain't no leaders here. Don't nobody run shit. And if they do, they didn't tell me because I don't see anybody as a leader. I really don't. I see us all as equals. I see us all as content creators sharing a message.
Yep.
That's it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off on that rant, but don't nobody run me. I don't think anybody has the ability to run me.
Exactly. Exactly. Hold up. Shit. Let me see. Is my stuff messing up?
Look at my frustration face. Run me? Get the fuck out of here.
I feel you. Hey, am I still connected? Can you see me? Because I'm buffering.
Yeah, I still see you. Yeah, you good. We still live. I think the people got that message from us. They got my ugly face too. Like, you running shit? Nah, you ain't running nothing.
Just like, come on, man, quit playing.
Yeah. Come on, man.
And my thing about this whole situation, like I said, let's see what manifests as far as somebody being a shield or agent and all that. Because I mean, on to Mark Sargent. I'm like, okay, they're saying that this domain name was registered in his name years before, and he got into Flat Earth from this and that, and it showed some clips of him talking about certain things and saying, that's crazy. It was one clip where he talked about how the sun is a projection and how the moon is a projection. Like it's not really there. But that was years ago when, from that interview, if I understand correctly, or it might have been recent. I don't know. But what he said in that interview is now being looked at in a more serious light these days, because more people are like, you know what? The sun might be a projection. The moon, it's not you know it's not a solid object because we can see through it for half of the month. You know, it's out during the day. We can see blue sky through it. You know what I mean? And so we know it's not a solid. It's not something that can be landed on. So, you know, along those lines, it's just shoot. Are we still good? You still here?
Yeah, we still good. We still good. I just muted because my grandson was attacking me. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I saw a little man running around back there a
Yeah.
second ago. I was about to be like, shout out to the naked baby in the house.
Yeah, that's the
what's up.
baby. That's the baby vegan warrior.
Yeah, man. Shoot. So, you know, I'm saying I don't. Again, I'm not sitting here trying to say this or that about anybody. I'm like, whenever somebody shows up, you know, pulls the mask off and says, "Ha, I have successfully led you all off a cliff." You know, then I guess I don't know. It's all speculation until then. You know.
You waiting for the villain to pop out, right?
I'm waiting for that. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. You know,
It ain't gonna happen, bro.
that's
It ain't
all.
gonna happen.
You know, I'm trying to see that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's like
Okay.
slow.
Let me play devil's advocate.
All right.
If there is a strategy to organize and create a leadership role of the flat earth, would it be considered this conference? Are they gonna like get y'all in a secret room and y'all all take an oath, and then Mark Sargent is the grand poobah and she's the queen? You know, I mean, what the hell do they think is gonna happen? I don't know.
I really don't know, and
But for that to be pulled off, they gotta cut the check. You know, they gotta pay everybody. They gotta put some money out there. You know, nah, man.
right, and
Nah,
I'm
it
saying,
ain't gonna happen.
yeah, it's along the lines of I feel like to a degree people become so caught up in this conspiratorial thought.
Oh man, he got sucked out again. Anyway, I'm just criticizing the ideas that many people think that this movement is so weak. You know, there is nobody. I don't give a damn how many views they got, how many likes they got, how popular they are on YouTube, capable of telling me what the fuck to do. I'm sorry, it's just not possible. I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel at heart. I am literally a vegan warrior. Literally. That name is not a joke. You know what I mean? I live my life as a vegan. I've been a warrior my entire life. So if down the road provocateurs come to me and say, okay, this is the direction we're going to take the movement, and you better follow, you better lay down or get down, I'm taking the guy out. I'm serious. I'm crazy like that. I don't take orders well. I've taken orders too much throughout my life. I do what the hell I think is truthful. You know, that's the way I live my life now. So if anybody thinks they can infiltrate this movement and start telling people what to do and how to think, dude, you wasting your time. Well, you're gonna have to take the guys out like me. You're gonna have to take us out because we're not going for that shit. You know, I'm sorry, flat Earth is not a bunch of weak-minded people. You know, and that's why we argue and fight so much, because we're not weak. A lot of us is standing on solid ground and with strong ass convictions. So if you think you can come and challenge my convictions and convince me to somehow be a part of a government psyop, you done lost your damn mind. I don't fear anything. I don't fear the government. I don't fear none of this. You know, I've lived my life, and I'm going to live it righteously until the day I die. That's where I'm at in my life. I'm an older guy. You know, some of these guys are younger, in their 30s and their 20s, you know, barely touching 40. I'll be 50 next year. Nah, there's no converting me, you know. So only reason I'm saying that, because there's people that actually believe this shit. They believe the Illuminati can steer flat Earth. Maybe they can with certain individuals. Not me. Fuck the Illuminati. I've been saying that since day one. You know, and when I say Illuminati, I mean controllers, the people that want to control the narrative. the New World Order or whatever. Nah. I believe the earth is flat because I only experience it flat. Bang. No one who has ever existed or still exists has ever experienced earth as a globe. That's my foundation. You got to change that. If you can't change that, you have to show me tangibly how this place that we call home, that we call earth, is a globe. If you can't do that, I don't care what science you come with. I don't care what mathematics you come with. I don't care what arguments you come with. I'm going to look at you like you fucking retarded. It's that simple. Because it's in direct contradiction to my experience. Your words cannot be in contradiction to my experience. If that's the case, y'all fighting a losing battle. If you think you're going to shift flat earth to your agenda, it's not going to happen. So, and I know I'm not speaking for all the flat earthers. There's flat earthers that have their own feelings and views, and that's the uniqueness of flat earth. We're all unique. And I would even argue that we're all realists, even though some of them don't like that term. We're reality-based. How are you going to mind control people that are reality-based? How's that possible? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. If it is, show me. This ain't Germany, World War II. You're not coming in here and getting anybody to join your buffoonery. That's in direct contradiction to what we know to be true. And then you have religious folk that have identified, and I'm not religious, but I respect their gangsters, right? You have religious folk that embrace their ideas of flat earth based on their religious doctrine. How are you going to change that? You're going to change the doctrine?